Hey everyone, Maestro here. I am the football enthusiast. Let's talk football. Okay, so this is the weekly roundup. This is the third week. It's currently, I believe, the 6th of March 2023. This is kind of the series where I kind of go through the events of the past week that we just experienced and kind of give my thoughts on the main headlines. But before we get to the main headlines, I thought there's a little few things that we could quickly gloss over real quick, just give my quick thoughts on, and we'll start with the La Liga title race. So Madrid once again stumble. Ancelotti facing some pressure here. I believe there's some reports that if a trophy does not come to Madrid by the end of this season, he could be on his way out, and it's unfortunate, but it is the typical cutthroat business of the Real Madrid manager. It's always how it's been. You win a Champions League one season, and the next, if you fail to deliver, you're under scrutiny. I hate that. I have to be honest, I really hate that, but it is what it is. I hope Ancelotti gets more time. I think he's a fine manager. I think maybe they're being a bit too rash, and also, yes, they won the Champions League last year, but that should not, I think in a way that is kind of brushing over the issues with Real Madrid, because the fact of the matter is, in the summer, in January, recruitment was close to nothing, and it's not good enough. They need more players. They needed to bring in. They brought in no one, and it's not. Look, Ancelotti's got issues, but it's not his fault. I would say. I do think he's the right manager for the job, and I hope they give him time. I hope they give him recruitment. Barca, they answer with a strong, once again, strong defensive performance. Not a great game in general, especially offensively. But considering they go down to 10 men at the 60th minute and to kind of manage the game out for the rest of the match, come away with a win, it kind of showcases again just how strong Barcelona are defensively. I believe they've conceded the least goals in the top 5 leagues, which is not something you usually relate with Barcelona. And real quick, I want to talk about Ansu Fati real quick. If you want to understand the hype around Ansu Fati, the only thing you need to do is look at the shirt on his back. Sorry, the number on the back of his shirt. 10. When Messi left, he was given the number 10. That's how much hype there was around Ansu Fati, and it's sad to say, but he is not showing himself to be anywhere near deserving of that hype right now, and I do worry for his future. Real quick, another one. Chelsea finally break their duck. Potter finally gets his first win not his first win with Chelsea, but his first win with this new crazy team since the January window. You know, it's Fernandez's first win, it's Felix's first win, it's Madueke's first win, etc. All the guys that came in January, it's their first win, and it's something. For me, considering how they actually performed in that match, it's nowhere near enough. I still think they performed pretty bad. Still very many issues in that team. I would say the standout was Kovacic. He was fantastic, and the defense was great too. It's good to know for Chelsea that without Silva they can still cope. For Fernandez was great too, but Havertz's problem, Sterling was a problem. The main problems were still there. But it's a win. It's something, but I should say this should not take any pressure off Potter. It's not good enough in general, and for what they want to achieve, they need to do more. Finally, before we get to the main points, Napoli finally lose, and their lead is cut down to 17. Will they hold on? Yes, they will, but I thought it was worth mentioning. They are the most on fire team this league in the top 5 leagues this season, and it's they finally lost, and it's a very small loss, but. I thought it was worth mentioning. Now let's actually get into it. Let's get stuck into it and about the main points which I'll talk about in detail. Now first, we are going to start with the Premier League title race. And I first want to start with Man City actually. The City game. So, City 2, Newcastle 0. Thoughts on City? I think it was a good performance, but nothing more than good. I won't give them any more praise than that. I thought defensively they were a bit open. Offensively, they were still kind of lacking. Still 100% the bad team. Still deserved to win, but once again, we have to bring it up. And seeing how they performed last season, the way they performed, against Newcastle is it's night and day. It's still not what you want. They're still not back to their free-flowing best from last season, but it's a win against a tough side, and it puts pressure on Arsenal. Newcastle. Let's talk about Newcastle. So, at a time during this season, there was a point where these lads here, these group of lads, Newcastle and Eddie Howe, were in pole position to get top 4. You know, a lot of people at one point predicted them to get top 4, but in the past 2 months or so, since the World Cup in general, they have been poor. I feel their results have not been good enough. They began to sink, and they're still sinking right now. And I believe they find themselves behind Tottenham and Liverpool right now. Could be wrong. Actually, let me check that right now. Give me a second. Premier League table. Yes, they're 6, and I can't picture them bringing it back. But let's talk about Newcastle's issues in general. I don't think they're playing bad. I just think that they're nowhere near clinical enough, and too many times in the defense they make these too many small little mistakes, and that they get cut open. They tend to lose focus every now and then, and in that time when they lose focus, sorry, I just got a burp. And in that time when they lose focus, they get exposed. A goal goes in, and these are things that can be fixed kind of easily. Yeah, it's something that Eddie Howe needs to work on in the training ground, get refined, make sure that the team is more sharp, more focused, and kind of go again. Because listen, even if they were to finish 6, it'll be a great result for Newcastle. But of course, you don't want to sink deeper. You don't want to go 7th, 8th. You want to stay where you are, just get into Europe, and maybe, just maybe, make that one extra final push for a possibility of top 4. But yeah, Arsenal Bournemouth. Let's talk about this. Bournemouth scored in 10 seconds. So firstly, I want to talk about Bournemouth. I thought they were okay. On the counter, I thought they were dangerous. They scored those 2 goals, but not just with the 2 goals. Ramsdale made 2 world-class saves during this game. It was at 2-0 and 2-2. He made 2 world-class saves. So I will give them credit that on the counter and during the match, they were dangerous as in some form. But with Arsenal, in general, this game is the definition of domination. Not every way. There were a few hiccups, but 80% possession. Right here you can see 31 shots. It was a dominant performance. They got the ball back very fast. They went again, attack, and eventually we get a result that explains why we love football. 2-2, the 97th minute actually, and Reece Nelson with a fantastic goal with his weak foot to the far right corner. I think it was a good. I mean, listen, I think if they had drawn or lost Arsenal, it would have been extremely unfortunate and unjust. With the way Arsenal played, they deserved to win. I don't think it would have been fair for Bournemouth to have won that game. So I think football won here, but it's also good to know that once again with Aston Villa, with United, they've done it again with Bournemouth. There is grit and fight in this team. It's not over till it's over. They will keep on going. There is a belief that they can get that Prem. There is a belief that no matter how far behind they go, they can continue to push on. And this is the stuff made of champions. It's when you look at titled champions in the past, these qualities that Arsenal are exhibiting, they are present in Premier League champions. So it's good to know. If there are any concerns, it's the injuries. Trossard came off injured, as well as Smith Rowe. I'm not entirely sure what the deal is with that. Are they out for a while? Will they be back soon? But of course, all of that is not, I feel, it's not a big issue. Still an issue, but not a big issue if Jesus is to come back, which he is expected very, very soon. So with that, Arsenal kind of find themselves in a great position because people don't give them enough credit for coming out of this without Jesus, and for most of their time since the World Cup without Partey, to come out still on top with five points clear. That's great. They bring back Jesus, Partey settles in again. They still, and then you have Arsenal at full strength, and I just think they're in a great position right now. And this comeback was kind of like a wake-up call to not lose focus and to take every game seriously. And it could be something that gets them together again and push them on for more greatness. So let's move on to the French league. This isn't so much about the game. So PSG was Nantes 4-2 to PSG. This is more so about Mbappe and his record, and I want to speak about it. But first, let's talk about the game in general. PSG were. It's kind of typical. I thought Messi was fantastic. I thought Mbappe was fantastic. I thought a few midfielders were pretty good, but as a whole, defensively, dreadful. 2-0 up, 2-2 after 30 minutes. Not good enough. It is a worry. But after the 2-2, PSG showed their might, showed that they were the better team. And, I mean, they brought it back and they won. And that's great and all, but it is still a worry. Because what's coming up on the horizon is Bayern Munich. It's the thing that matters the most to PSG. It's the Champions League. They need to win that game. And defensively, seeing how they perform against Nantes, it is a worry. But we'll see. But listen, I'll talk about Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe right here. He just recently broke the record, and he is now officially alone as PSG's top goal scorer with 201 at 24 years old. And I want to speak about Mbappe and his career in general, and how good I think he's been, and where I think he's going. So, first of all, I'll start by giving him just great praise. We've always wondered that once Messi and Ronaldo leave, when they get old and they retire, who will be the one to take the helms? Or who will be the one to, let's say in the next 10 years, win the most Ballon d'Ors? Or something like that. And I think the answer to that guy has been for some time now, Kylian Mbappe. He's electric, he's exciting, he's clinical, he has that mindset to achieve greatness. He's done it already in such a short career. He has the ambition to do so. He wants more and more. And he just is an exceptional generational talent. I would say in football today, he is the generational talent. He is the guy that we will remember in 10, 20 years from now. I'm so sure of his greatness that I know he will become a full-on legend if he isn't already. So that's just my praise for him. And he is the thing that, where it's a bit negative, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. He needs to move on from the French league. Look, I understand. He is in France. He's home. Yeah, he's in Paris. It's his country. It's his city. He probably feels more comfortable there than he would in anywhere else. But I have been watching the French league very, very closely ever since Messi joined. And I've come to understand that the stereotypes, whilst they are somewhat it's a bit over the top, it's still somewhat accurate. The French league is not. I mean, compared to, I'd say, the Spanish league and the Premier League, it's nowhere near good enough. The Bundesliga and Serie A are 100% definitely better, especially Serie A. But the French league is somewhat closer to the Bundesliga and also somewhat close to Serie A. But I would say the Spanish league and the Premier League are on a different level. And to be taken serious, when he plays his league matches, he needs to move on. No one denies how great he is. It's just that it's hard. Like if Mbappe was to get a hat trick against Troyes, AS Troyes in the French league, it's like, who cares? It's not something that's going to get us up on our feet. Now we still see him in the Champions League. We still see him on international level with the Euros and the World Cup. That's great there, but You want more. You know, those 200 goals in the French league, I would say that's not worth 100 goals in the Spanish league. You know, so it's something that I want for him. I hope he does move on, because he is a special player, and I would love to see him in the Prem, or most likely at Real Madrid. Is probably where he's going to go at some point. And you know, I do hope he does make that move, because he is a special player, and I want to see him at the top league always. I don't want to see him, you know, you're excited to watch Mbappe in the Champions League. When it comes to League 1, it's like, okay, yeah, Mbappe's there, and that's great, but he's playing against players that just aren't up to his standard. And essentially, he can win all the trophies he wants over there. It won't make much of a difference for his legacy, at least for me. So I want him to move on. But that's it on Mbappe, that's it on PSG. Now let's talk about Spurs real quick. This actually won't be in detail. I'm just gonna real quick talk about this. They're just far too inconsistent, Spurs. You think that they're finding some sort of form, some sort of level that they can carry on to take them into top 4, but they trip, you know. And what we're seeing here, like on the screen right now, you can see Wolves versus Tottenham. But real quick, I want to talk about midweek in the FA Cup, Sheffield United versus Spurs. So Spurs haven't won a trophy in God knows how long. We all know this. I think it's been like 15 years or something like that, and they haven't won a trophy. They find themselves in the run of 16 of the FA Cup against Sheffield, in which if they were to go through, seeing the draw, they would have played Blackburn, which once again they most likely would have won, and then they find themselves at a semi-final of the FA Cup. But then they decide to play their second team against Sheffield United and risk losing, and losing they did. And just like that, once again, another good chance at a trophy is gone. And you have to... I'm looking at that right now and just thinking, what are they thinking? If you were to win a trophy, do you know how much your fans would go ballistic? As an Arsenal fan myself, when we broke our duck of 8 years in a row without a trophy, winning the FA Cup, I believe it was in 2014 or 2015, something like that, we went nuts. Yes, it was the FA Cup, but we hadn't won a trophy in so long, and it was so great to finally get one. If Spurs were to have done that, it would have meant so much for their team, for their fans, sorry, and also would have done great things for their team. You take that duck off your back, so I don't understand them once again playing their second team. They really had a chance here to go far in FA Cup, and they come in with Wolves. Alright, you're out of everything, let's go for top 4. Flat performance, perfect performance to be honest. Nothing exciting from anyone. I do think Spurs were the better team, yes, I do agree. And if football was fair, they would have gone at least a draw, maybe a win. But football's not fair, and they weren't good enough, weren't clinical enough, and Wolves get the clean 1-0 win. And with the way Liverpool are playing, it looks like Spurs won't be getting top 4, but we'll talk about that some other time. Liverpool, that's the final thing we'll talk about today. I made a huge video about this yesterday, but once again, let's just talk about 7-0, absolutely unbelievable, historic result. Now, I want to talk about the future for both these teams, not about the game in general, because I already spoke about that in my last video. Just what I think both teams, what their mindset should be, and where I think they're going. For Liverpool, they should harness this win, use it as a catalyst, and allow it to take them forward. Let this finally. I know they have like 4 wins in the last 5 games, something like that. So it's good form even before this game, but they've never played even remotely this good this season. It's not just that they won; it's how they won and the level they played at. It was, you know how we talk about how City have yet to replicate how they performed last year? Well, Liverpool just did that. They put in a performance that replicates just how good they were last season, where they strangle you on the defense. They come after you and pressure you every second and take the ball off you, and they are dynamite on the offensive end. Relentless. That's what we saw. So let them use this as a catalyst to push them forward to salvage this season. And to salvage it, let's be real, they are out of the Champions League. I'm not saying they can't win 3-4-0 against Real, because they just won 7-0, so it's possible, but most likely they're out. It is what it is. But for the Prem, let's salvage this for them. Use this, harness it as a catalyst, end the season well, get top 4, solidify it, and then use that to build on in next season. Few transfers, they're challenging again. That's great. So that's Liverpool and their future. United, forget this happened. Look, don't forget what happened, and don't forget why this happened, but forget the result. Just move on. Get your mind ready. You're still in a great position. You're still stuck for top 4. You're still challenging for other titles. You're still developing and progressing well. So use this as a lesson to not be complacent. Let this humble you, learn humility, and understand the mistakes, and don't let it happen again and revert to how you were before, because what you were before is a team definitely getting top 4, challenging for the FA Cup, challenging for the Europa League, potentially winning 3 trophies in one season. So use that. Don't forget what you have been this season, and don't let this game define you. That's what I think they should do. So that's the weekly roundup, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to come join me. It really means a lot. If you liked, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. Please take care of yourself. Have a great day. Cheers.